Hey yo, what's going on with the viewers of the tube? Tyler here of Chico Crypto, coming to you not live, not in the studio because I'm working on it, a new studio soon, but out in nature, aka my backyard once again. How is everybody doing on this beautiful Wednesday morning? And from the title of this video, a short squeeze could be hours away, the biggest one in years. So a short squeeze was already starting. 24 hours, Bitcoin has went from 37.5K, just above that, to above 39K, and as of right now, it's settling at about 38.8K. The markets and insiders, they basically already know what is going to happen with the Fed's decision in a couple hours. So the way Bitcoin spiked and how the Dow is trading, so the Dow is trading pretty sideways, up and down. It started up and now it's down, but not significantly down. It makes me think that, a 50 basis point raise, which I predicted last week. Over the past 2 weeks, I've been saying that a 50 basis point raise was coming. So the markets are pricing that in. If, a bigger raise was coming, insiders would have already known that, and we would have seen a bigger dump. If a smaller basis point raise was coming, we'd probably be seeing a bigger pump. So in my opinion, a higher raise is off the table, although a lower raise is still in play in my opinion, just a 25 basis point raise. Because the market insiders, the manipulators, could be playing the markets as we frickin' speak. So it's pretty exciting to see that Bitcoin is up, and up, while the market's Dow Jones is kind of down. Which again makes me think that market manipulators could already know what's coming. So CME, they have a tracking for the FOMC meeting, which is only a couple hours away, and they have a probability of a basis point raise. So as of right now, a 50 basis point raise, according to CME, is 99.8% likely, you guys. So what are we talking about in a short squeeze? Well, the bears have been overly bearish. I said a short squeeze was on the table last candid video, and there's a big recipe for a brutal squeeze. So basically, no one's longing right now. There's not big longing going on because we have been in a bear trend. There's been a lot of shorting. There's been a ton of shorting. That's basically all that's going on. So there is a short stacked across exchanges. But there's also the supply of Bitcoin. So the illiquid supply of Bitcoin is at its highest point ever. There is over 14.5 million coins that are illiquid, which means they haven't moved in a long time, basically meaning people are putting them into cold storage to hodl for higher prices or for the long term. So there's about just over 19 million Bitcoin that have been mined, and of course a few million of those have been lost. So let's say just 3 million have been lost. That would mean there are 16 million coins that are out there. 14.5 million of them are illiquid. That means just 1.5 million coins are out there to be bought or sold, which means, buys can push the price up very quickly, and the vice versa, sells can too. But again, I think, we have an overly bearish market, which is kind of proof too from bigger accounts. You guys know Plan B, the perma, bull who created the S2F model, thinking Bitcoin's going to 100K. Well, he put out a pretty bearish poll asking where the Bitcoin bottom would be, and he put some pretty low prices in there, so even he is turning bearish. And I've said this before, when those big crypto analysis accounts on Twitter start getting bearish, that's when I get bullish. Because the markets always like to do the opposite. So the short squeeze, it could be hours away, or it could be a week away, you guys. It doesn't mean we aren't going to go lower into next week, because next week, May 11th, is the CPI Consumer Price Index inflation data. So we want to see inflation hold at 8.5%, or it goes lower, it starts dropping. And based on the raise we see from the Fed, we should get an indication of where inflation is at, because they know. So if we do have a 50 basis point raise, I would think it went slightly higher, or it's holding. We have a lower basis point raise, 25 point, I would expect inflation to start dropping. Of course, if they pull out the crazy card, and they do a 75 to 100, which is very unlikely, inflation went a lot higher. So what is the recipe, if a short squeeze isn't going to begin hours away, even though I do think it might? What's going to be the recipe for it to start later in the week, also towards the end of this quarter, into quarter 3? Well, there is news of a spot Bitcoin ETF getting greenlighted. As we know, Grayscale and their exchange-traded products, they're looking to get a spot Bitcoin ETF passed by the SEC, and they've actually threatened to sue the SEC over it. They're like, hey, you guys, freaking let us do this, or we're going to sue you. There's reasons one should be out there. Well, this company called Teucrium, they actually got the green light from the SEC, although there were some caveats with it getting, fully green lighted and going. The exchanges that are providing the liquidity for it, they have to prove that there is no manipulation on their exchanges. And that's going to be a hard thing to do. It's possible, but it's going to be hard. So that's great news, and that could help a short squeeze later in the year. But also, end of quarter 2, the beginning of quarter 3, we have the Ethereum merge, baby. And things are looking like it's coming right on track. So they have a new dashboard out there, testing the merge tracker, where they're looking at projects who are testing the merge and where they are with their testing. And there are large names on the testing dashboard: Lido, Rocket Pool, the stakers, swappers like Uniswap, RPC callers like Infura, and even wallets like MetaMask. So they are all providing data that the merge is, and the testing for it is going to schedule. So in the next thing, this actually leads me into some altcoin plays, especially if the markets start rumbling. Merge coins, of course, merge coins will do well when the merge comes. So staking coins like Lido, but one I like is Rocket Pool. They're going to do extremely well, because once the merge happens and proof of work is shut off for good, guess what happens, you guys? All those transaction fees go to the stakers, which means increased APR. So you guys saw what happened with intense times of Ethereum usage, like the BAYC land sale. I mean, all those transaction fees, I think 1.5 million in ETH were burned, while a large chunk of transaction fees, probably close to 1.5 million in ETH, would go to the stakers, which means these coins are going to do extremely well when the merge happens. So there's also another play. I've talked about this before. It's kind of like an arbitrage play. So once the merge happens, the next upgrade, who knows when it would be, but probably 3 to 6 months after the merge, is when the Ethereum is unlocked from the staking contract. So stakers can actually withdraw their ETH. There is a coin from Bifrost called VETH, Voucher ETH, which is trading lower than the price of Ethereum. A VETH right now is about 2,100, while a regular ETH is above 2,800. So there is an arb opportunity, but you can't withdraw the ETH from the VETH contract until that unlock happens. So if you think, ETH is not going to drop below 2,100 within the next, by the end of the year, I would say, then Voucher ETH is actually a pretty dang good buy. The next thing I want to talk about, you guys, is a event I possibly could be going to. Most likely, but there are some things I'll talk about in a second that could stop me from going. But I did a Twitter post. I will put the link for the Twitter post down in the comment, where all you got to do is, retweet the post and tag some friends about the Blockdown Conference in Croatia. It begins May 11th through the 13th. It's going to be a big event. And guess what? Chico Crypto is more than likely going. So you could meet Chico in real life, because they are giving away 4 tickets to people who do that. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. And if you can make it to Croatia, that would be excellent. So the only thing that could stop me from going is actually my grandpa. He's going downhill very quickly, unfortunately. He was unconscious for 2 days. I put out a post yesterday, "I love you, Grandpa," and asked people in my Telegram group to pray for him. And those prayers seem to have worked, because he did wake up this morning. Of course, he can't speak or anything, but he has opened his eyes and he's conscious, which is an amazing thing. So I appreciate all you guys who threw out the prayers. Of course, if my grandpa starts going downhill again, I unfortunately wouldn't be able to make it, but I need to spend as much time with him as I can, because he's the reason I'm doing this content. Well, you guys, watch for Bitcoin. It could be exploding upwards within the next couple of hours. Hour or two, we'll see. Cheers. I'll see you next time.